Welcome, learners, to this lesson on SAP Awareness. SAP stands for the Student Assistance Program. This lesson is going to inform you about SAP Awareness, SAP Referrals, and SAP Information. The instructional model for strategic learning I chose is the Gradual Release of Responsibility model by Douglas Fisher and Nancy Frey. This model is a proposed lesson plan that transfers responsibility from me, the teacher, to you, the student, for effective learning. There are 5 guided steps within this model, and they are direct instruction, I do it, we share SAP information and explain, modeling why we learn about SAP and its purpose. 2, guided instruction, we do it, share objectives, prompt questions, group effort, use cues, and focus on important information. 3 is collaborative learning, you do it together. Students will take notes, reciprocal teach, summarize, predict, question, and clarify information. 4, independent practice, you now do it alone. Enhances critical thinking skills, self-learn, and gain acquired knowledge. 5, assessment, students will follow through with homework, quizzes, and tests. Our learning objectives for this lesson are: define SAP and its purpose and goal, the Network for Student Assistance Services, SAP team members, SAP acronym READY, recognizing potential barriers, boundaries of SAP, illustrating the SAP referral process, knowing school responsibilities, defining external and internal assets, instilling resiliency, legal responsibility, and finally confidentiality. SAP is, definition, the Student Assistance Program. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania's Student Assistance Program is designed to assist school personnel in identifying issues including alcohol, tobacco, other drugs, and mental health concerns which pose a barrier to a student's success. SAP's purpose is helping all students adjust and achieve their fullest potential. Goal: the primary goal of the Student Assistance Program is to help students overcome these barriers in order that they may remain in school, achieve, and advance. All of these departments are an integral part of the SAP process. It is the Network for Student Assistance Services, and they consist of a collaborative initiative between the PA Department of Education, the PA Department of Public Welfare, and the PA Department of Health. SAP team members consist of administrators, school counselors, teachers, psychologists, prevention specialists, drug and alcohol liaisons, parents, faculty representatives, community liaisons, nurses, probation officers, and mental health liaisons. SAP has an acronym known as READY. R is for removing barriers to learning, E is for enhancing resiliency, A is for alternative decisions, D is for dependable support systems, and Y is yes to a future. There are many barriers to learning, but some examples are listed in this slide. They are drugs, truancy, alcohol, abuse, neglect, mental health, legal issues, identity issues, pregnancy, conduct issues, health issues, death, and suicide. What is a barrier? A barrier can basically be anything that gets in the way of students' learning and success. SAP does have boundaries, and they are: do not diagnose or label. Focus on the learning barriers. Look at objective, verifiable information. Do not succumb to opinion, but document. Do not make decisions for parents. Respect their position. Do not treat or refer treatment. Refer for assessment only. Do not replace guidance, discipline, health, or other school resources. Utilize all resources. SAP is not discipline for the unmotivated or crisis. When you find a child that has a barrier to learning, as mandated reporters, it is our responsibility to make a SAP referral. Anyone can make a SAP referral. Teachers, counselors, parents, other students, community members. The SAP process then consists of 4 steps, and they are: referral. Anyone can refer a student to SAP when they are concerned about someone's behavior, any school staff or a student's friend or family member. The student themselves can go directly to the SAP team to ask for help. The team contacts the parent for permission to proceed with the SAP process. Team planning. The SAP team gathers objective information about the student's performance in school from all school personnel who have contact with the student. Information is also collected from the parent. The team meets with the parent to discuss the data collected and also meets with the student. Together, a plan is developed to include in-school and/or community-based services and activities. Intervention and recommendations. The plan is put into action. The team assists in linking the student to in-school and/or community-based services and activities, and the team might recommend a drug and alcohol or mental health assessment. Finally is support and follow-up. The SAP team continues to work with and support the student and family. Follow-up includes monitoring and motivating for academic success. As a school, there are certain responsibilities that you are accountable for. They are: identify problems, determine scope of problems and school responsibility, make recommendations to assist student and parent, when beyond the scope of school, inform parent, provide options and resources in the community, where necessary, set up linkages with providers, and for those in treatment, provide in-school support during and after treatment. Remember, when it comes to SAP, often the issues are very negative, depressing, harmful, pessimistic, and even dangerous, so it is extremely important to find within these students their good qualities and welcoming assets. Some external and internal assets are: externally, support, empowerment, boundaries and expectations, time use; internally, educational commitment, values, social competencies, and positive identity. As we look to positive attributes of students facing dark problems, it is very important that we empower them with resiliency. Resiliency is defined as the ability to spring back, the occurrence of rebounding, and the ability to quickly recover. Some examples of resiliency are: provide care and support, set and communicate high expectations, provide opportunities for meaningful participation, increase pro-social bonding, set clear, consistent boundaries, teach life skills, instill hope, promote positive relationships, and of course, make a connection. We must always keep in mind our legal responsibilities. Some of these legal responsibilities are: the legal mission of school, educate all students, provide a safe and orderly environment for all students, and protect the health, welfare, and safety of all students. Bernie Hoffman, who is a retired legal educational consultant for the United States Department of Education, also known as a legal expert regarding SAP, states that part of our legal entitlement is to approach every situation with the key decision process. Are you aware? Did you investigate? Did you come to a conclusion? And did you take appropriate action? Other legal responsibilities that will be upheld in court are policy, procedures, guidelines, job descriptions, and contracts. We must always keep in mind the important aspects of written law, such as Act 211, which is the basic education circular that states parents have the right to access student records and students have the right to be protected by law. On the school level, this includes FERPA, the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, and on the health level, this includes HIPAA, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. The PA Mental Health Law Act 147 states that students 14 years or older control the release of their treatment records and that they may access treatment without the consent of the parent. Finally, the McKinley-Vento Act states that schools must act in the best interest of the child. You must educate homeless children, and you must take a new student even if there are no previous school records. When it comes to the Student Assistance Program, never breach confidentiality and know the 6 confidentiality rules. Rule 1, constitutional rights. Rule 2, the need to know. Rule 3, be consistent with your practice. Rule 4, parents are the decision makers. Rule 5, harm to self or others breaks all confidentiality. And Rule 6, reasonable action. The next two slides will make reference to the gradual release of responsibility model. I have introduced you to important information that included the definition of SAP, examples of barriers, and the 4-step SAP referral process. I would like you now to write down 2 questions that you have to this point about the information already given and submit them to me via email. You will receive answers and feedback within 24 hours. I would also like you to state 2 things that you now know about SAP. I would like you to reiterate at least 5 barriers to learning. I would also like you to write down the 4 steps to the referral process and define each. In the next model reference, I would like you to summarize 3 different ways to help your SAP student with resiliency. List the 4 key legal decision process, otherwise referenced as Bernie Hoffman's law. List the 6 rules of confidentiality and predict an obstacle that may challenge you in sticking to these rules. Next, we will reference a SAP case example. This will also be a homework assignment. Jimmy is a very bright 12-year-old in 6th grade. He enjoys being with both peers and adults. He is very eager to learn and participates in class. Jimmy has recently lost his grandfather, with whom his family lived with. He has had difficulty staying focused in class, and his grades have suffered as well. He often looks sad and withdrawn. Mom has even stated concern about whether he has had attention problems even before his loss. He's often fidgety and shakes his leg or taps his fingers. His classmates find his actions somewhat distracting at times. He additionally submitted a very dark essay in English on a real-life experience. Now ask yourself these questions. What can you do for Jimmy as his teacher? Is this a SAP referral? How can you apply external and internal assets? And how can you use resiliency to help Jimmy? The following next 3 slides are rubrics. The first one is the rubric for the SAP referral process. You obtain a 4 if you have a complete and detailed understanding of the SAP process. You generate explanation and descriptions of this process and are able to communicate clearly and accurately all 4 steps. You obtain a 3 if you have complete understanding of the SAP process and generate explanations and descriptions of this process. You obtain a 2 if you have incomplete understanding of the SAP process and some misconception of it. You have basic understanding. You obtain a 1 if you have so many misconceptions about the SAP process that the student can be said to not understand the process. And you obtain a 0 for not enough information to make a judgment. The last rubric is for rules of confidentiality. You obtain a 4 if you have complete and detailed understanding of the 6 rules of confidentiality. You generate explanation and description of the 6 rules and use correctly in contents. You obtain a 3 if you have complete understanding of the 6 rules of confidentiality and generate explanation and description of the 6 rules of confidentiality. You obtain a 2 if you have incomplete understanding of the 6 rules of confidentiality, have some misconception about the 6 rules, and have a basic understanding of the 6 rules of confidentiality. You obtain a 1 if you have so many misconceptions about the 6 rules of confidentiality and that the student cannot be said to understand them. And you obtain a 0 for not enough information to make a judgment. Lastly, I would like to end this lesson with some very insightful SMART quotes, and they are: children are living messages to a time that we will not see. Arthur Unknown. Good actions give strength to ourselves and inspire good actions in others. Plato. I challenge you to be dreamers. I challenge you to be doers, and let us make the greatest place in the world even better. Brian Schweitzer. To accomplish great things, we must not only act, but also dream, not only plan, but also believe. Anatole France. Thank you, learners, for completing this lesson on the Student Assistance Program.